Well, it's time to wrap up the last trading day of June, or June, as they would say in some parts of the world. Just for you, Peter. We had a pretty good day. We guessed what was going to happen, that we would hold our own, that end of the month, into the second quarter would hold the market. We'd hoped to buy on the cheap, but it's been basically a 1950 market to a 1957 market. After the first hour of trading, we said it looked like the range was in until late in the day, and I still think we got a shot at a price spike into the close. It would be the easiest time for the big players to manipulate the market. So we've got a higher low, and we've got a higher high, and on this particular E-mini screen, we would be buyers. We would not be afraid to buy it. Looking at the F2 screen, definitely a P. Definitely reinforces what we just said. So both time frames and screens are congruent. That's what we like to see. That gives us a stronger trade. So the issue is context. What happens tomorrow? If the market is going to sell off of the news underlying the headlines, tomorrow would be a good day for that. What's countering that? 4th of July, typically the market closes up into the 4th. We got on Thursday non-farm payrolls, and that is forecast, I think, to be in the 210 area, plus or minus, depending on who you read, which would be supportive for a recovering economy. So here we are. We got a P, volume over time. Got another P in the overnight, and today we've got a P with volume over time, so that means we still can have a price spike. We came in today wanting to sell failure to take out 55 and hold that, then 59 to 61, so right now we'll make 59 to 61. Definitely a sell, and then we'll make failure to take out, why don't we just make it sell failure to take out 57, 61 for the overnight session, and we'll come back and we'll visit it again tomorrow. It's, we're there, we'll see what happens. If we close this thing on a price spike and we made new contract highs, my inclination would be to find a place to get short in Globex. And take a shot at tomorrow, coming off a little bit. We don't have a lot of news tomorrow. We've got construction spending and auto and truck sales. You haven't seen the guesstimate for auto and truck sales. Construction spending is called up 4/10, and no one ever pays any attention to that. Nancy, I'm not sure that Rich has posted. He usually comes back in and cleans up those videos before he makes them available. So I don't know if he's got them or not. For the overnight session only, S1 will be 49 to 51 and 45, 47. But I'll send Rich an email and see what he's got for us, okay? That much I can do. You might go check that section where the last one was and see if there's a second one there. That would be my inclination. So that's it for the E-mini. Taking a look at the note, inside day, almost an inside day, maybe a little bit lower high, higher low. This one says, can look for a place to sell it. I think with all the unrest going on in the world, including Argentina's default, that you're going to have a hard time getting people excited big time about being short treasuries. But having said that, this is not an auction week, and this is the way the primary dealers set up the next auction is they get short futures after the auction's out of the way. So We have primary dealers selling versus what are the fundamentals going to be this week. So on this screen, you can be a seller. On the F2 screen, we have ourselves a P with a strong close. So these two are not congruent. And that tends to say trading range. And Thursday's non-farm payroll number would tend to hold us in that particular range. So right now we want to sell failure to take out 8 to 12. We'll just leave it at that. And on the buy side, we'll leave it at 29 to 01 where we had it today. And we'll come back and take a look at it in the morning. Okay, looking at the 30-year, tomorrow's news probably won't have any impact on this market either. I think Thursday's news, non-farm payroll, will have more to do with how we trade this week than the other news. And remember, FOMC and non-farm payroll tend to freeze the market in a trading range. Doesn't mean it can't go lower, can't go higher, but when it's all said and done into the non-farm announcement, it's usually been in the trading range. Okay, the 30-year this morning, we wanted to buy 25s to 29s, and and then 17s to 21s, and the low is 21. So the top of our second buy area held. You're actually able to get that trade on in the 25 to 29 area pretty handily. So we'll just, again, sell failure to take out 8 to 12, kind of where we were this morning. Exactly where we were this morning. On the buy side, last rotate down was 29, so we'll stick with 25, 29, buy 1. And 21 to 17 for buy 2. We won't change things. Auto and truck sales tomorrow is likely to be supported for the indexes, not so for the treasuries. Okay, I don't know what's going on in gold. I haven't found an article to explain that. It was up a bunch. So let's take a look at the F1 screen and kind of get a picture of that. Again, Argentina added to the buying in gold, no doubt about that. I don't know if Venezuela has any paper out there that they haven't defaulted on already, but Venezuela was getting their help from Cuba, and I imagine that Cuba's got a foreign aid program. The irony. Of course, Venezuela had to ship them crude oil instead. So here we have a very, very strong P. Market is broken out to the upside. We've got this B rotation up here that stopped in the looks like 45 area. Z stopped in the 56, so 45 to 55 is pretty good structural resistance. A strong P going to the upside, and again, as always, it doesn't mean the market can't sell at night. It just means that I don't really want to go home short at night. In either gold or crude. I mean, just what happened today in gold is could happen off of a single headline. Okay, so here's our breakout from basically 25. Showed you earlier that we had a mom right here in 15 out of this entire distribution. This could have some legs on it, so where's resistance? 30, so that is resistance. 29 to 31, sell 1. This high volume area, 33 to 35, sell 2. Would like to see a setup up there. I can do it on London time. I'm in trouble, and the breakout came from 22, so 22, 25, buy 1. I'd like to get it done closer to 25 because that, 22, that's where today's breakout came from. And then 17 to 20, where we were this morning for buying 2. Looking at crude, Iraq's oil production, the biggest part of it is in the southern part. That's the stuff that goes for export. The Kirkuk region produces, that heads north to Syria and Turkey, but it's not the export. 2.5 million barrels a day comes from Baghdad south, and that's under the government's control. Various reports. A big force was sent to retake Tikrit, however you pronounce it. And some say they took it back, some say they didn't, so we'll assume that it's in limbo. Looking at the daytime temperatures, purgatory might be a better word for it. And it's hard to see how those kids fight in that weather over there. Of course, if you throw your backpack and ammunition away and the rest of it, you can go a little bit lighter. Okay, we like to buy below 105, 104.75. We made it up to 75. That is resistance, so 575, 106 will be sell 1. London time is when I would put that one on. 23 to 50 would be sell 2. And you just don't want to get in a situation when Globex opens up that this thing runs $1.50 to the upside like it did last week. You don't need that kind of exposure or risk. And you can get that on the close. And finally, to the euro, we'll take a look at the big picture on that. I put an article up this morning, again, and Draghi faces the same problem that we do in the United States. Corporations are sitting on at least $2 trillion worth of cash. And probably more as the day goes along. You cannot get a loan. One of my daughters is buying a house, 20% down, cash on hand to cover the first 6 months' payments. No more than 25 to, quarter% of your income is going towards the payment. So that's the housing department. You can get subprime automobile loans. If the automobile manufacturer is back for you, then they repackage them, and Wall Street's happy to sell them. So the problem's the same. More people need to go back to work to solve the economic problems of the European Union and the United States. So we've pretty clearly had a breakout here from the 75 area. Last rotate up at stock was 37.29. We are at resistance, so selling 37 will be sell 1. We've done pretty well. Every 50 to 75 point rally, selling it from 25 to 35 will be sell 2. On the buy side, the 75 area will be buy 1, plus or minus, and then 50 plus or minus 5 will be buy 2. And that does it for the last trading day in June and the last day of June. I'll stop the recording, be back with you in just a second.